The restaurant thrummed with life, a symphony of laughter, clinking glasses, and soft jazz weaving through the warm air. Golden fairy lights dangled from the ceiling, casting a cozy amber glow over the long dining table where my coworkers and I sat, toasting the company's latest quarterly triumph. The energy was electric, charged with the promise of something monumental. For me, Kathy, tonight was more than a celebration, it was my night, the culmination of years of relentless dedication. Or so I believed. For 5 years, I'd poured my heart into this company. Late nights troubleshooting crises, mentoring junior staff who leaned on me like an unofficial guide, tackling projects no one else dared touch. It was my rhythm, my pride. I thrived on it, even when it wasn't in my job description. My boss, Richard, had dangled the senior manager position like a carrot for months. "Kathy, you're next in line," he'd say, his smile sharp but persuasive. I trusted him. I'd pictured this moment countless times, the announcement, the applause, the validation of my sacrifices. Tonight, at this very party, it was supposed to happen. I smoothed the hem of my navy blue dress, nerves buzzing with anticipation. Around the table, my team glowed with wine-fueled cheer. Lisa, the new hire of just 3 months, sat across from me, her bright smile catching the light. She was talented, no doubt, but still green. I'd even guided her through her first projects, sharing hard-earned wisdom. At the table's head, Richard stood, his presence commanding as he tapped his wine glass with a fork. The chatter hushed, all eyes on him. My heart pounded, fingers tightening around my glass. "Ladies and gentlemen," Richard began, his deep voice slicing through the murmurs, "tonight, we celebrate not just our success, but someone extraordinary. Someone who's shown unmatched dedication and talent." I sat straighter, a smile tugging at my lips. This was it. My moment. My coworkers' faces mixed curiosity and excitement as Richard's gaze swept the table. I braced for the words I'd waited years to hear. "In just a short time," he continued, "this person has made an incredible impact. It's rare to find such drive, such vision." My chest swelled. 5 years of late nights, of going above and beyond, it was all worth it. I could almost hear the applause, feel the weight of my new title. Senior manager. I was ready. But then Richard's eyes landed on Lisa. My smile froze, confusion creeping in. "Lisa? 3-month Lisa?" No, I must have misread his look. Any second, he'd turn to me. Any second. Richard's gaze lingered on Lisa, his smile widening. "Lisa," he said, his voice booming with pride, "in just 3 months, you've exceeded all our expectations. Your leadership, creativity, and problem-solving have dazzled us. It's my pleasure to announce your promotion to senior manager. Congratulations." The room erupted in applause, a wave of sound crashing over me. I sat frozen, my fingers clenching the stem of my champagne glass so tightly I thought it might snap. 3 months. 5 years of my life, nights spent debugging reports, mentoring rookies, saving projects from collapse, and Lisa, who'd barely learned the company's systems, was now senior manager. My vision blurred, the fairy lights smearing into golden streaks. This wasn't happening. I forced a smile, clapping mechanically as Lisa stood, blushing and nodding graciously. My throat tightened, a lump forming as I swallowed the urge to scream. Around me, coworkers cheered, oblivious to the storm raging inside me. Richard's words echoed in my head, 3 months, incredible impact. Had my 5 years meant nothing? Had I been invisible all this time? Richard glanced my way, as if suddenly remembering I existed. "And of course, Kathy," he said, his tone lighter, almost patronizing, "you've been such a valuable team member. We appreciate everything you do." That was it. A hollow nod. A pat on the back. My face burned as I kept smiling, nodding like a puppet. "Of course," I said, my voice steady despite the chaos within. "Lisa absolutely deserves it." I raised my glass in a toast, my hand trembling slightly. Richard nodded, satisfied, then added, "She does a lot more than you already, Kathy. You should take notes." Laughter rippled through the table. Lisa giggled awkwardly, muttering, "Oh, I wouldn't say that." But the words hung in the air, sharp as a blade. A slap across my face in front of everyone. I laughed along, the sound hollow, masking the sting. What else could I do? Cry? Beg? Demand to know why he'd strung me along for months, only to humiliate me at my own celebration? I sipped my champagne, the bubbles bitter on my tongue. My mind raced, replaying every late night, every sacrifice. I'd trained Lisa, helped her navigate her first weeks, and now she was my boss? The unfairness clawed at me, but I kept my composure, chatting and smiling through the rest of the dinner. My coworkers carried on, oblivious, their laughter grating against my raw nerves. As dessert was served, I caught Lisa's eye. She looked uncomfortable, maybe even guilty, but she said nothing. I didn't need her pity. I didn't need anyone's. Inside, a storm was brewing, not of defeat, but of resolve. Richard thought he could dismiss me, but he was wrong. I wasn't just a cog in his machine. I was the one who kept it running. When the party finally wound down, I stepped outside into the cool night air, the restaurant's warmth fading behind me. My heels clicked on the pavement, each step grounding me. I wasn't done. Not by a long shot. Richard had no idea what he'd just unleashed. The night air was crisp, a stark contrast to the restaurant's stifling warmth. I stood outside, my breath visible in the faint streetlight, my heart still racing from Richard's betrayal. 5 years of loyalty, late nights, skipped weekends, mentoring others, reduced to a patronizing "we appreciate you." I pulled out my phone, fingers trembling not from the cold but from a fire igniting within me. I was done being overlooked. I opened my email, the blank screen glowing in the dark. My mind flashed to a moment 3 years ago, a project on the brink of collapse, me staying until 2 a.m. to fix it, Richard praising me privately but never publicly. I'd believed his promises, trusted his hints about promotions. Tonight, that trust shattered. I typed, each word deliberate. Subject, resignation letter submission. Dear Richard. Please find my official resignation letter attached. Effective immediately. Best. Kathy. I attached a simple document, formal and concise, stating my intent to leave. My thumb hovered over the send button, a flicker of doubt creeping in. 5 years was a long time, could I really walk away? But then I remembered his words, she does a lot more than you already. The doubt vanished. I hit send. A rush of relief flooded me, unexpected and exhilarating. For the first time in years, I felt untethered, free from Richard's empty promises. I took a deep breath, the cool air filling my lungs, and smiled. This wasn't the end, it was a beginning. My phone buzzed, a text from Rachel, my one true ally at work. Kathy, you okay? That was brutal. I didn't reply yet. Instead, I thought of Andrew Carter, the former CFO Richard had forced out last year. Andrew and I had stayed in touch, and a few months ago, he'd offered me a director-level role at his new firm. I'd declined, loyal to a company that clearly wasn't loyal to me. But now? Now everything had changed. I scrolled through my contacts, found Andrew's number, and typed a quick message, "Is that offer still open?" His reply came almost instantly, "Absolutely. Call me tomorrow." I slipped my phone back into my purse, a plan forming. Richard thought he could humiliate me and move on. He was about to learn how wrong he was. By Monday, my resignation would hit his inbox like a grenade. I imagined his face, smug confidence crumbling as he realized I wasn't begging to stay. I wasn't just leaving, I was taking my worth with me. As I walked to my car, the city lights sparkling around me, I felt a spark of something new, power. Richard had underestimated me, but Andrew hadn't. And on Monday, the office would feel the weight of my absence. Monday morning, the office felt different, like the air itself held its breath. I walked through the glass doors, my heels clicking with purpose. The receptionist's bright "Good morning, Kathy," faltered as she sensed the shift in me. My resignation letter, sent Friday night, sat in Richard's inbox, a silent bomb waiting to detonate. I wasn't here to plead or negotiate, I was here to watch him realize his mistake. The open workspace buzzed with the usual Monday chatter, but it felt hollow. My coworkers lingered by the break room, coffee cups in hand, stealing glances at me. Lisa sat at her desk, her new senior manager title practically glowing around her. She avoided my eyes, and I didn't care. My fight wasn't with her, it was with the man in the corner office who'd lied to my face for months. I settled at my desk, calm and deliberate, placing my bag down and booting up my computer. I wanted Richard to come to me. Right on cue, his office door swung open. "Kathy, my office. Now." His voice was sharp, urgent, a tone I'd never heard from him before, desperate. The floor went silent, heads turning, eyes wide. No one had ever heard Richard sound like that. I stood slowly, smoothing my blouse, and walked to his office, every step measured. The door clicked shut behind me. Richard sat at his desk, my resignation letter printed out in front of him, his face a mix of disbelief and irritation. "You're leaving?" he said, voice incredulous, as if I'd betrayed him. "Yes," I replied, sitting across from him, hands folded in my lap. "Effective immediately." He leaned forward, eyes scanning my face like he was searching for a bluff. "This is so sudden. We didn't discuss this." I let out a soft laugh, sharp and unyielding. "We didn't discuss Lisa's promotion either, but here we are." His jaw tightened. "Kathy, that wasn't personal. She just outperformed you." 3 months, I said, tilting my head. "She's been here 3 months, Richard. I've been here 5 years. But sure, if that's what you believe." He shifted, his confidence wavering. "You know I appreciate you. You've been a key part of this company. I don't want to lose you." I stared at him, letting his words hang in the air. The audacity was staggering. "You don't want to lose me," I repeated, raising an eyebrow. "But you had no problem passing me over for a promotion I earned. No problem laughing when I was humiliated at my own celebration. No problem telling me to take notes from someone who just got here." His expression cracked, the smugness fading. "Look," he said, running a hand through his hair, "maybe I made a mistake. Maybe I should have handled it differently. But resigning out of nowhere? This isn't the right move, Kathy. You're being emotional." I smiled, no warmth in it. "I sent that email Friday night. If this was emotional, I'd have stormed out then. I planned this, Richard. I'm leaving on my terms." His hand curled into a fist on the desk. "So what's your plan? A competitor? You know we have non-compete agreements." I laughed again, softer this time. "I don't need a competitor." I leaned forward, savoring the moment. "Do you remember Andrew Carter? The CFO you forced out? He reached out months ago, offering me a director-level role at his new firm. I turned him down, loyalty to you. But Friday night changed everything. I called him after the party. I start next Monday." Richard's face went pale, his mouth opening, then closing. "You're leaving for Andrew's company?" he finally managed, voice tight. "Confirmed," I said, standing. "He values what you didn't." He exhaled sharply. "Kathy, be reasonable. We can work something out." "This is final," I cut him off, my voice calm but firm. I turned to the door, pausing just before stepping out. "You know, Richard, it's funny. You only realize someone's worth when they walk away." I left him there, alone with his regret, the door clicking shut behind me. The glass building of Carter and Associates gleamed under the morning sun, its sleek lines pulsing with ambition. I stepped through the doors, my heart lighter than it had been in years. No more Richard, no more being overlooked. This was my fresh start, and it felt like freedom. The lobby buzzed with energy, people moving with purpose, their voices bright with ideas. This wasn't just a workplace, it was a place where things were built, not merely maintained. I rode the elevator to the top floor, catching my reflection in the mirrored doors. I looked different, taller, more alive, my navy blazer sharp against the crisp white shirt. My new office awaited, a real office with floor-to-ceiling windows and a door I could close. No more open-plan cubicles, no more eyes tracking my every move. As I stepped inside, sunlight spilled across the desk and I smiled. This was right. The morning was a whirlwind of introductions. Andrew Carter, the founder, greeted me with a warm handshake. "Kathy, we're thrilled you're here," he said, his eyes crinkling with sincerity. Unlike Richard, his words felt genuine, not a performance. He introduced me to the team, engineers, analysts, creatives, all of whom nodded with respect, not suspicion. One colleague, Maya, a sharp operations manager, pulled me aside. "Heard you ran circles around your old company," she said with a grin. "We're lucky to have you." I laughed, the tension of the past week melting away. "I'm the lucky one," I said, meaning it. My first leadership meeting came that afternoon. Andrew gathered us in a sleek conference room, glass walls framing the city skyline. "Kathy," he said, turning to me, "I want you to lead our new operations overhaul. With your experience, you're the best person for it." Just like that. No hoops to jump through, no need to prove my worth again and again. They already knew. I nodded, suppressing the urge to glance around for a catch. "I'd love to," I said, my voice steady. A few colleagues smiled, and Andrew nodded as if he'd expected nothing less. This was how it should be, no games, no politics, just trust. As I sketched out initial plans for the overhaul, ideas flowed freely. My team listened, asked questions, and built on my suggestions. It was a stark contrast to my old office, where Richard dismissed ideas unless they came from him. Here, I was heard. Valued. By the end of the day, I'd outlined a strategy to streamline operations, and Andrew clapped me on the shoulder. "This is why I wanted you here," he said. I felt a rush of pride, untainted by doubt. As I settled into my office that evening, organizing files and soaking in the view, I realized something. I wasn't just surviving anymore. I was thriving. The weight of 5 years under Richard's thumb had lifted, replaced by a spark of excitement. This wasn't just a job, it was a chance to build something real, something mine. I glanced at my phone, half expecting a snarky email from Richard. Nothing. Just silence. And for the first time in years, that silence felt like victory. 2 days after I left, my phone buzzed with a message from Rachel, my old coworker and confidant. "Kathy, OMG, Richard is losing it. Everything's a mess since you left." I smirked, leaning back in my new office chair, the city skyline glittering through the window. I kept reading. "He called an emergency meeting because no one knows how to handle half the stuff you did. Lisa's drowning, she doesn't even know where to start." I laughed out loud, the sound echoing in my quiet office. Of course. Richard had bet on Lisa's potential while dismissing my proven track record. Now his gamble was crumbling. I pictured him in his corner office, barking orders, his usual swagger replaced by panic. Another text from Rachel popped up. 3 clients asked for you by name today. When they heard you left, they flipped. Not happy. A rush of satisfaction hit me. Richard had taken me for granted, assuming I was replaceable. Now he was learning the hard way. Some people are the backbone of a company, and I was his. I didn't gloat for long, though. I had work to do. But Rachel's updates kept coming, each one painting a clearer picture of the chaos I'd left behind. "Richard's been yelling at everyone," she wrote the next day. "Lisa tried to lead a project you used to run, and it's a disaster. She didn't even know the client protocols you set up." I shook my head, unsurprised. Lisa was bright, but she wasn't ready for the role Richard had thrust upon her. He'd overestimated her and underestimated me, and now his company was paying the price. By the end of the week, Rachel's messages took a darker turn, the board's getting involved. Clients are threatening to pull out. Investors are pissed. I felt a twinge of vindication, but I didn't dwell on it. My focus was on Carter and Associates, where I was building something new. Still, knowing Richard's world was unraveling gave me a quiet thrill. He thought he could humiliate me and move on. He was wrong. I replied to Rachel, sounds like they're realizing what they lost. Keep me posted. I set my phone down, a small smile playing on my lips. I wasn't orchestrating this chaos, I was just living my truth, and it was enough to send Richard's carefully curated empire into a tailspin. The irony was delicious. The man who'd told me to take notes was now scrambling to clean up the mess he'd made. As I prepared for a meeting with my new team, I glanced at Rachel's latest text, Richard's blaming everyone but himself. Classic. I chuckled, slipping my phone into my pocket. Let him flail. I was done carrying his company. For the first time in years, I was working for someone who saw my worth, and more importantly, I was starting to see it myself. The phone on my desk buzzed, pulling me from a stack of strategy documents. My assistant, Maya, poked her head in. Kathy, line 1. Dawson and Company. They said they used to work with you and want to discuss moving their account. I blinked, my heart quickening. Dawson and Company was one of the biggest clients at my old firm. Put them through, I said, keeping my voice steady. A moment later, Mark Dawson's familiar voice filled the line, warm and direct. Kathy, heard you're with Carter and Associates now. Let's talk. I leaned back, a slow smile spreading. Of course, Mark. What can I do for you? Over the next hour, Mark explained his frustration. Things haven't been the same since you left, he said. The new team's sloppy, unresponsive. We trusted you, Kathy. If you're leading operations there, we're interested in moving. By the end of the call, Dawson and Company was ready to sign with us. I hung up, adrenaline coursing through me. This wasn't just a win, it was proof of my value. The next day, 2 more clients reached out. Both echoed Mark's sentiments, it's not the same without you. We don't feel prioritized anymore. I handled each call with calm professionalism, outlining what Carter and Associates could offer. One by one, they committed to jumping ship. I wasn't stealing clients, they were choosing me, choosing a leader they trusted. It was a power I hadn't fully realized I had. Between calls, I stepped into the break room for coffee. Maya joined me, her eyes bright with curiosity. Heard you're pulling big names already, she said, pouring a cup. You're kind of a legend. I laughed, shaking my head. Just doing my job. Nah, she said, grinning. You're showing them what they lost. Her words stuck with me as I returned to my office. I opened my laptop, reviewing the new client contracts. Each one felt like a brick in the foundation of my new life. I wasn't just surviving, I was building something. For years, I'd let Richard define my worth, tying my value to his approval. Now, I saw it clearly, I was the one clients relied on, the one who made things happen. Rachel's texts kept me updated on the fallout at my old company. Another client bailed today, she wrote. Lisa's panicking, and Richard's holding crisis meetings. It's chaos. I didn't respond right away, but I couldn't help the satisfaction curling in my chest. I wasn't out to destroy Richard, I was just thriving, and that was enough to shake his world. That evening, alone in my office, I paused to reflect. The city lights sparkled beyond my window, a reminder of how far I'd come. I wasn't the same Kathy who'd sat through that humiliating dinner, forcing a smile while my dreams crumbled. I was stronger, surer. Clients weren't just following me, they were betting on me. And for the first time, I was betting on myself too. As I packed up for the day, another call came in. Another client from my old firm. I smiled, picking up the phone. This is Kathy, I said, my voice steady, confident. How can I help you? Each call, each new contract, was a step forward, a reminder that my worth wasn't tied to Richard's approval, it never had been. Friday afternoon, my phone pinged with an email from Richard. Subject, a proposal. I raised an eyebrow, opening it. Kathy, I'd like to have a conversation. I believe we can come to a mutually beneficial arrangement. Let's meet next week to discuss options. Richard. I laughed softly, the irony thick. The man who'd dismissed me, laughed at my expense, was now begging for a meeting. His company was crumbling, and he knew why. I took my time crafting a reply, each word measured, subject, a proposal. Richard, I'm available Monday at 10 a.m. Let me know if that works. Best, Kathy. I hit send and closed my laptop. This wasn't about negotiating, it was about closure. Monday morning, I walked back into my old office building, the glass doors familiar but distant, like a memory I'd outgrown. The receptionist hesitated, unsure if I was a guest or a ghost. Coworkers stole glances as I passed, their whispers trailing me. I stepped into Richard's office at exactly 10 a.m., my posture relaxed, my navy blazer crisp. He looked terrible, dark circles under his eyes, his usual arrogance replaced by nervous energy, his fingers tapping restlessly on the desk. Thanks for coming, he said, forcing a tight smile. I sat, crossing my legs. What's on your mind? He exhaled, leaning forward. We need you back, Kathy. I underestimated your role here, I'll admit that. If you return, I'm offering a substantial raise, a senior executive title, and full decision-making authority. I said nothing, letting his words hang heavy. He expected gratitude, maybe relief. He got neither. I tilted my head. So, let me get this straight. You had 5 years to recognize my value. 5 years to promote me. 5 years to respect my work. But you passed me over for someone with 3 months' experience, told me to take notes, and laughed while I was humiliated. Now, after losing clients and watching your company spiral, you're offering me what I deserved all along? His jaw tightened, but I continued. If I hadn't left, would I be sitting here right now? Would you have made this offer out of appreciation, or is this just because you're losing control? Silence. His eyes betrayed the truth, he'd never valued me until it cost him. I let out a small, amused laugh. That's what I thought. Richard's desperation surfaced. Kathy, be smart. You have history here, a future. You're throwing it away for some startup that might fail. I smiled, unshaken. That startup is run by someone who saw my worth from the start. I'd rather bet on myself than stay where I'm disposable. I stood, smoothing my blazer. You don't get it, do you? It was never about money. It was about respect. You only offered this when I had 1 foot out the door. That's not value, that's panic. His face darkened, a flicker of panic in his eyes. Can't come back, he warned. I won't need to, I said, turning to the door. I paused, glancing over my shoulder. You should take notes, Richard. Maybe next time, you'll value the people who make your company run. I walked out, his silence deafening behind me. The door closed, and with it, 5 years of being undervalued. I was done with Richard, done with his games. I had all the power now, and it felt incredible. Back at Carter and Associates, the energy was electric. Our client roster had nearly doubled, with more companies leaving Richard's sinking ship to join us. My office, with its floor-to-ceiling windows, felt like a throne room, a place where I was seen, valued, and trusted. Each day brought new challenges, but they were the kind I craved, building something meaningful, not cleaning up someone else's mess. That Friday afternoon, as I wrapped up a strategy session, my phone buzzed with a text from Rachel. Richard just got fired. The board forced him out. Couldn't recover from the client losses. I leaned back in my chair, sipping my coffee, and laughed out loud. Perfect. Richard had thought I was replaceable, but he was the one who'd lost everything. The irony was sweeter than I'd imagined. I pictured him clearing out his office, his smug confidence shattered. The man who'd told me to take notes was now a cautionary tale. I didn't need to lift a finger to make it happen, I'd just thrived, and that was enough. Clients hadn't followed a company, they'd followed me. My work, my integrity, my value. For years, I'd let Richard's approval define me, but now I saw the truth, my worth was mine to claim. I stepped out onto the office balcony, the city sprawling below, alive with possibility. Carter and Associates wasn't just a job, it was a mission. Andrew trusted me to lead, and I was delivering. The operations overhaul I'd spearheaded was already streamlining processes, earning praise from colleagues and clients alike. Maya, my assistant, had taken to calling me the closer for my knack with clients. I smiled at the nickname, owning it. Rachel sent one more text, "The team misses you." Lisa's still struggling, but I think she feels bad about how it went down. I didn't hold a grudge against Lisa, she'd been caught in Richard's game, same as me. But I was done looking back. I replied, "Tell her to hang in there. I'm good." And I was. Better than good. As I returned to my office, I caught my reflection in the glass door. The Kathy who'd sat through that humiliating dinner was gone. In her place was someone stronger, someone who knew her worth and wasn't afraid to demand it. I'd walked away from a toxic past and built a future on my terms. Richard's downfall was just the final note in a song I'd stopped singing. I sat at my desk, reviewing a new client proposal, the city lights twinkling outside. This was where I was meant to be, leading, thriving, free. Richard had underestimated me, but I hadn't underestimated myself, and that made all the difference.